We are truly fortunate to have with us today Mr. Chris Miller. He is recognized as a highly successful entrepreneur and expert trainer with decades of experience providing a variety of services to the construction industry and the residential market. He has taught thousands how to take back their lives by creating their own financial freedom. I don't want to steal your thunder, so I'm going to cut off the intro right there. And really what we want to do is tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background and how you got started in this business.
Well, that I can do, Lare, and thank you for your interest. You did a good job reading that intro just like I wrote it. I started back in 1981, 26 years old, clueless, broke, lost, and didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. But I knew I didn't want to continue working a dead-end job as a waiter that I didn't like. I was looking for something, but I didn't know what that something was. I was spending so much time making a living, I couldn't take time to make any real money. And one day the idea came to me of starting a window cleaning business, mainly because the startup costs were so low. So I went out and I started cleaning windows for car dealerships and storefronts. It's called route work in the industry. And since I was working in the evening as a waiter, I could work during the daytime hours building a window cleaning business. All with the end result of getting enough business to quit the restaurant gig. It wasn't to get rich, it was just to get away from a job that I hated. So I started going out picking up accounts to service. I had accounts ranging from $30 to $300 a month, and in 9 months later I quit my job. I rounded up enough accounts to get by. I had quit my job for another job, which was fine because I no longer was working for a guy I didn't like. Now I was working for a guy I did like, me. After a while of route work, I had enough accounts where I could hire some employees to do the work for me. I got the jobs and the employees serviced them. Now, don't get me wrong, I was still doing much of the labor also, and along with my hands-on training and management, of course. So one day I stopped by a construction trailer of a general contractor at a large Marriott hotel under construction, and I was speaking with the project manager about possibly cleaning the glass there. He suggested I clean the whole building, not just the glass. He wanted the windows, floors, bathrooms, kitchens, casework, carpet, doors, mechanical rooms, loading docks, light fixtures, and so on. It never occurred to me to offer these services. And at that moment, the final cleaning services of my business was born. And with that, my volume went up dramatically and my profit. I went from doing little $300 jobs to jobs of tens of thousands. The more money was great, but I wanted more. I want to say before I forget it, this business was started basically with no training and at least formally anyway, and with virtually no large outlay of cash or credit. That was a good thing because I had neither of those. And one day I realized this is not the way to get rich in this business. You see, providing final cleaning services is far better than just providing window cleaning. The dollars are much larger. And of course, the more dollars you waller in, the more stick to you. So after several years and many hundreds of projects, I figured that I could offer other trades. The other ones that contractors were providing, like concrete polishing, joint filling, pressure washing, brick cleaning, epoxy coatings, and more. The contractors were performing these trades there while we were on site at the same time. And so I saw it as a very viable transition to offer these services also. I became friends with several of the contractors, and I would ask questions, and so I learned what they were doing and how to do it. So I started offering these services. Now, with us offering more services, my customers, the general contractors, can buy out these trades with one contractor instead of many. They love this. It's a great advantage. Another advantage to offering multiple services is you have much more chance of being awarded something. Your percentage of awarded contracts go way up. Let's say you're awarded the final cleaning of a project and possibly you add brick cleaning or pressure washing the exterior of the concrete or the building and possibly joint filling, let's say. Your volume goes way up on the same project. It's all around the same time during the project when you're there anyway, much of it. So with the same amount of time, energy, and management, you get much more done. Over the years, I figured out how to make a ton of money in this business, but only after I figured out what not to do. For the first few years I started, it was a mess. I made all kinds of mistakes and I wasn't making money. I finally made changes to make it work. And all the things that we've been promising our spouses, living on a budget and living day to day on a fixed income, is awful. And I don't want my students doing this. I want them to be making more money than they need to live on and enjoy the fruits of their labor instead of getting too old before they start figuring this thing out and put enough money in the bank to not worry about money again. So that's my humble beginnings, and I still do it to this day. I'm servicing my customers and working with students all over the country. I'm kind of a weird dude, Lare. I actually do this stuff that I teach. And quite honestly, I know no one better at teaching this stuff. So that's kind of a long answer to a short question, I guess.
That was a very good answer, Chris, and I'm sure it's going to hit home with our listeners. Not to take you back to the very beginning, but did you say you got started with no training and little money or no credit? And would you be willing to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, there's actually 3 ways to lose at doing what we do. If you do it correctly, you'll never have to worry about a loss. You'll never have to worry about money or credit. The first way is don't go into debt. If you invest a large sum of money to get started, you can always lose that money or damage your credit. If you don't put a lot of money into this, you can't lose it, can you? My business is debt-free. It takes knowledge to be a success at this business, and if you do it correctly, you won't need to go into debt. It's not difficult. You'll have to take it on good faith that you don't need a large credit line to do this. Number 2, knowing your market. Knowing which projects to spend your time on and which projects that you should avoid. This is huge. Ask me how I know this. I've been awarded projects that I regretted. I got the job and I got neck deep in a project that was hard to manage. That was a pain in the neck and taking all my time away from projects that I should have been chasing, which would have made me a lot of money with much less hassle. Number 3, using cumbersome methods and techniques. This took a while for me to learn. As a matter of fact, this took me the longest to learn. You don't know what you don't know. And after many hundreds of projects, I came up with some very creative ways of attacking the buildings to get great results with the least amount of time and expenses. Some of my methods are a bit unorthodox, but they work great. And they are creative. My methods of attacking the building are amazingly fast, and being efficient with the least amount of labor is essential in whether you take a loss or make a profit or make a huge profit.
So where do I find these projects and which ones would I do?
Well, there are several types of projects we're going to focus on. They're all over. They may be down the street, across town, or several hours away. Now, some of you may think, well, I've got to go hours away from home to do one of these projects. Well, let me ask you, would you go, let's say, 2 or 3 hours away to provide final cleaning on a project and you net $30,000 in a few days or a few weeks? I hope so. Of course, you could continue swapping hours in that job that you love so much. So the projects we look for are manufacturing, distribution, office buildings, schools, larger retail chains like Super Walmarts, for example. There are others, of course, and we certainly do those, but keeping it simple, these are some that we will go after. That's just the construction market. There's the end user, being the residential and business owners too.
And realistically, what kind of money could one expect following your system?
What one market area will bear for a particular trade may be different than another, but not by a lot. Here's an example. With a recent project awarded to us, we used a trick that I can show you that costs nothing to implement, and will produce hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was a $5,000 project to clean the I-beams in a brand new distribution warehouse. And with this simple trick, we turned it into $278,000. And this is not unusual. These numbers are not on occasional type or anything. This is constant, and you can repeat this over and over again. This is life-changing, to say the least.
Okay, what type of licenses do I need to do this business?
Well, that depends. You might think you need a business license. I wouldn't get a business license the first day, the first week, or even the first month or so. First, you don't know which locality where you'll be working. Some require a license, some don't. Secondly, you got to get some business first and work some projects and then worry about a business license. Don't get caught up in the details that have nothing to do with making money. And I'm not saying sneak around and try to get out of paying business license taxes. I'm saying get your business off the ground first, instead of getting bogged down in the minutia. Having a business license doesn't put someone in business. Having an awarded contract and receivables puts them in business. Go find the business, and then we'll worry about the licenses later if you need them. Bottom line, go make money.
Is there any skill set or experience that someone would need to have to be successful doing this business?
Well, I think the first skill set would be attitude, because quite frankly, I just don't have the patience to work with folks that don't have a great attitude. Develop the attitude to take a hold of this thing and go out and make a whole bunch of money, and we're going to do it quickly. And we're not going to listen to all the morons that try to tell us that we should stay broke like they are, because they will certainly come and try to steal your dreams. So it's going to take a little bit of grit, which means we've got to push through all that stuff and realize nobody really wants us to succeed. Your relatives really don't want to see you succeed, except possibly in your household. Your friends don't want you to either, and leave them down there still working for a living regardless of the lip service they give you. If you're going to get into this thing, you're going to experience the wealth that some of my folks are experiencing at such a rapid rate. You're going to have to understand, you're going to have to leave a few folks behind until you get some real cold evidence called checks to show them and prove this is not just one of those get-rich-quick schemes. And if you come into the business with an open mind, knowing you're going to stay in it until we get you trained, get you over a few of the little front-end hurdles that will happen, and know that not everything is going to go exactly as you plan, because life it has a way of intervening, and a real business like this, you're going to be willing to stay the distance until we get you into that first check. So for some people, that's 2 weeks. Others, it might be 6 months, depending on how fast they want to move. Hunger is a good thing. The hungrier you are, the more I know you're going to stick. I'm looking for people that are hungry. That want to succeed and want to grow, and that's not going to let the first little hurdle that's in front of them stop them. I'm picky with whom I work, and I've developed this absolute barrier against whiners and complainers. That's probably not the answer you wanted, is it?
It's kind of what I expected. Is there a process or certain steps that one could take to be successful in the business?
Well, yes, in fact, there are 5 of them. So if you're out there right now listening and you want to take some notes, because I really don't care what business you're in or going to be in, because these are the same steps, these same steps are applicable to any business. If you're an attorney, these 5 steps apply. If you're a restaurant owner and you have a shop in the corner mall, these same 5 steps apply. Regardless of what business you're in or what product or service that the business sells, they all follow these 5 steps. Step 1 is to locate prospects. If you don't locate prospects, your business, you won't be in business long. It won't matter how good you are at what you do. You could own a restaurant and be the finest chef in the world, creating a cuisine that they would brag about around the world, but if people aren't walking through your door, you're going to be dining alone, and pretty soon you'll be shutting that door. In construction services, we must find people who want the services we offer. It's called locating prospects. And if you miss this step, the other 4 are irrelevant. Step 2 is pre-screening those prospects. There's a big difference between prospects and suspects. With all the projects you come in contact with, you have to decide quickly if they are prospects or suspects. Suspects are people you will never do business with, and they should be pre-screened out quickly and gotten out of your life so they don't drag you down and suck up all your resources. Focus on the people that want to do business with you and get rid of the people who don't. And you'll find this business very easy and, in fact, very lucrative financially quickly. Step number 3, constructing offers and bidding. If you're following my system and using my script when you're speaking with your prospect, you'll get more requests for a proposal. You'll be on and off the phone within a minute or 2 unless your prospect has taken a liking to you and just wants to tell you about his kids or their trip to the lake that weekend. A minute or 2 is usually all it takes. And I've seen some people I've trained want to change my script to make the prospect their friend. And often it's not what they want. Especially with project managers, for example. They don't have time to be your friend. They have many subcontractors they are dealing with, and all they want is to get your trade off their desk so they can move on to the next. So if you stay with the script, you will get more work than you can handle, and the GC won't be asking you who you are, do you have references, and all that nonsense. This step is easily missed if you stray away from the training. I almost never get requests for references. I go more in detail about this later. We show you how and what to bid for the various trades as well. Step 4 is to follow up. Nobody understands the value of follow-up. If our listeners are taking notes right now, take this one. Your prospects want to know you want their business. Follow up with them soon. Also, something else we need to understand, that in my system, we're not spending hours and hours a week going over plans. We have someone else do that when that's necessary. You're not going to be visiting a bunch of projects. Maybe sometimes in the beginning you will, but you can certainly do that if you like, and we encourage it. But you're not going to be spending a lot of time looking at projects once you learn the system. Sometimes the GC will want you to do that anyway, and that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. Then when the bid is ready, you mail it off. So we qualify the prospect, determine if it's a prospect and it's not a suspect, review the plans if necessary, visit the sites, usually by someone else, submit a proposal, and you're done. And so now you're spending your time overseeing awarded projects and cashing checks. Step number 5, get organized and start attacking the building. Often the GC doesn't realize that you can get started with certain tasks far sooner than they think. Also, they bring you in far early than they should on some trades, but that's another story. For window cleaning, for example, especially interior glass and often exterior, their vertical services, they can be cleaned incredibly early. The vertical glass generally won't get dirty again for the most part. Or if some fine amount of floating dust gets on them, it's nothing to lose sleep over. It's never an issue. The glass will last a long time, and it's one task that you can check off your list. It's one thing less to do. And now you're ahead of the game.
I know some folks in discussion forums on the internet that say that you could do this by following a book or a DVD. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I think we're probably talking to adults here, and any adult that thinks you can get an education worth having about this business or any business out of a book is probably pretty naive. Books are great. At least they give you the ideas and the basics. And I know I wouldn't want to start and go out and try to build an empire from ideas out of a book. The same thing is true about CDs and DVDs. There is nothing better than live training, the kind of training I do where we literally hold your hand all the way through the process. There's no way anybody is going to learn any quicker than that. Yes, there needs to be some supporting materials, that come along with the training, such as DVDs and forms and such. It really depends on whether someone wants to go through the school of hard knocks and do it the hard way, or whether they want to get it done and over with. Truthfully, anybody who goes out and starts any kind of business and doesn't get some quality training first is going to the school of hard knocks. Ask me how I know this. It's just a matter of how much they're going to, this education is going to cost them to graduate. In my experience, anyone who tries to do this without proper training first is going to pay for it many times over. And they won't teach you in depth what I know. If I had my system available when I first started, I'd be on a beach somewhere with one of those frilly umbrella drinks listening to Jimmy Buffett. It's probably cheaper to get the information from someone who's done this 2,000 times like me than from somebody that's not qualified, and save them a bunch of years and losses and headaches. And if one gets in their head straight and they can do this business and follow my methods, one will soon discover it's not experience or money they need, it's a model and a plan by which to follow, to implement, to make more money than they ever thought possible. I make entrepreneurs all over the country, and before we can start the path to financial freedom and making big money, we must first concentrate on getting you that first check. Wouldn't you agree? Is it a good business? You bet. Do I teach it? Yes, sir. But if you want to see the big bucks, I mean the really big bucks, learn these other services to add to your portfolio as well. We show you where to find these, how to approach them, how much to bid them, how to get organized, how to get the job quickly, profitably, and with little headaches and costly entanglements. We show you how to get paid very quickly, often much quicker than other subs. There is a thing in this business called, on the construction side, called retainage. It's where the GC holds a percentage of your payment back in case something goes wrong with your work. With some services we provide, we haven't had a retainage withheld in decades. Now, how does that happen? Well, we show you how. It's easy when you know. Same with getting paid quickly. We show you how to do this. It's a beautiful thing. We show you how to get paid far quicker than other subs, most subs. Am I talking too fast here? Slow me down if I get out of hand, will you?
No, you're on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt. So these are the 5 steps.
Yes, well, let me go over them again. Step 1, locate prospects. Step 2, qualify prospects. Step 3, construct offers or bids. Step 4, follow up. Step 5, get organized and execute. Don't these 5 steps apply to all businesses?
Yes. Well, Chris, I guess we need to wrap this up and let you go. I know you're a very busy person, and we are very appreciative you were able to stop by and share with us this exciting opportunity.
Well, thank you, Lare, and that was what this course is all about. So go grab it now before my marketing test expires. Sometimes seemingly a small decision leads to gigantic results, and I can assure you this is one of those times. So go to MaximumImpactPublishing.com right now while it's fresh on your mind. I hope you enjoyed this recording and that it made you aware of the golden opportunities available to you in this business. I've been in this business since 1981, and it's the best time I've seen in years, or at least in the last 40 years, to be providing these services, even with the coronavirus. Anyone can follow these easy steps and get their first check within the first 30 days for $5,000, $10,000 or more, just as I did back in 1981. And now for a limited time, you can pick up my brand new course for a substantial discount if you go to MaximumImpactPublishing.com before the offer is removed. That's MaximumImpactPublishing.com. I'll see you there.